Good morning, everyone. Is that too loud? Are you okay? Can you hear me? Okay. Well, a hearty welcome to this Florida State College of Social Work's third annual collaborative conference. These conferences have focused on topical debate, discussion, in order to bring diverse political, scientific, and cultural perspectives to socially important themes, such as the first conference's focus on the role of coercion in the helping professions, or the second, which focused on critical thinking and civil discourse about social problems, and this, our current one, which focuses on poverty in America. A range of critical perspectives. This is a problem that you probably all know engages about 40 million of our own citizens. So it is a substantial issue and, of course, a very, very long-term problem. Our university and the College of Social Work can take pride in taking the lead in such dialogues. After all, institutions of higher education are the bastions of respectful civil critical dialogue regarding tough social and scientific issues. My name is Tomi Gomory. I'm an associate professor at the College of Social Work, and I've had the privilege of coordinating the college's three efforts together with my friend and colleague, Dr. Jeffrey Lacasse, and two fine doctoral students, Mr. Dan Levy and Ms. Sandy Olson. None of this is possible without the essential support of the best administrative staff any institution can claim. It's led by Ms. Cassandra Brown, and finally, and perhaps most importantly, the invaluable counsel and support of our fearless leader, Dean Jim Clark. In all of our conferences, we have sought out experts in their fields who have represented the entire spectrum of ideology, politics, and research with the express aim of offering provocative, well-researched perspectives to the previously mentioned issues, with the hope that we find some potential solutions that we haven't so far. As in our previous conferences, as you can see by the program, we hope to provoke and engage you once again. So without any further ado, let me introduce our Dean, Dr. Jim Clark, for some preliminary comments. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Tomi, thank you very much for your kind remarks, and I want to join Tomi in acknowledging the amazing teamwork that makes this conference possible each year. One of the things that is really important about what we're trying to do with these particular conferences is to present very different types of ideas, perspectives that you will probably are less likely to hear in a classroom or read in a textbook or even see in popular media. And the other piece of it, of course, is the opportunity to dialogue and to engage in question and answer and get to know some of the presenters who are here, and then to participate in breakout sessions later and begin to think together about important issues. We find the community here at Florida State University, I've been here a few years now, extraordinary in its giftedness, and the people that are here that are some of the very best in the world working to confront social problems and the the most important issues of our times. And it's done in a way at this university that I admire so much, because it's more about the substance. It's more about shedding light on issues and digging in deep and doing the hard work, as opposed to sometimes the more flashy and sensationalist approaches. So I want to welcome you. I applaud you for being here. The issue of poverty, of course, is very much underlying so many of the other social problems and issues that people face. We know that if you think of any behavioral health problem or health issue, you can name almost any issue, and you look at the social gradient, those who are poor fare so much worse than in comparison to those who have financial security and wealth. So tackling this and not giving up on it is absolutely crucial. And we need new, fresh ideas. As Tomi often points out, if we have everything figured out and we don't need new ideas, or we don't need to get shaken up a bit intellectually, then these problems would have already been solved, and we wouldn't have to have a conference on poverty. But so many of the approaches that we're trying to take demand new ways to think about them. So the most important thing today is to really do what universities do, is to open up our minds and to think a little bit differently about problems that maybe we have some old thinking about or some rigid thinking about. I also, before I step down from the stage here as dean, want to welcome any of you who might be thinking about social work as a professional career. And if you are interested in any of our programs, Jennifer Farinella. Jennifer, would you stand up? She's our advisor for our MSW and PhD programs, but she also knows about our bachelor program. So I just encourage you at the break to talk with her and see if you are interested in any of the programs, including the doctoral program here. One of the things we're really trying to do at the college is to engage the major questions of our time, major issues of our time, and that's our commitment. And really happy to see so many colleagues from different colleges around Florida State. I appreciate faculty and leaders from those colleges and centers who are here today, many who have become friends over the last few years, who want to engage these issues with us in collaboration. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy the day. And now it's a real pleasure for me to, and I'm going to introduce Carol, right? That's my favorite part of my talk. That's the part of the talk everybody will remember probably, but Carol Edwards is a teaching professor here at the College of Social Work. She has a long career in child welfare and child behavioral health. She's been with us since about 2016, I think. And she was here on a soft money grant, and after spending a semester with her, I said, I'm going to do anything I can to get her on faculty permanently, because she's just a powerhouse, those of you who know her. And I'm very happy to say she's on our faculty as specialized faculty. Carol's a real leader at our college in so many different ways, and I know she and Tomi have been working a lot together on these issues and this conference and more initiatives to come in the future. On top of that, she is the president of the National Association of Social Workers Florida chapter, which is a really big job, but it is one that she's doing with an amazing amount of grace and energy, and I'm very grateful that she's part of the college. So would you join me in welcoming Carol Edwards to the stage?
Wow, what a great introduction. Good morning. Okay, we're going to try it one more time just to make sure we have the energy in the room. Good morning. Good morning. Outstanding. Thank you so much. From the early social work efforts to ameliorate poverty through the distribution of emergency food and funding assistance, through the settlement house movement, which many of you know about with Jane Addams, and the philanthropy of women like Mary McLeod Bethune, and our efforts in the war on poverty, social workers have been at the forefront of social change around issues of poverty. Indeed, many would say that our profession, more than any other, is engaged in working with poor people, those without health insurance, those who live in communities with broken infrastructures and no supermarkets, as Jenny and I were just talking about, access to banking, and communities without those basic structures to achieve a high quality of life. NASW has set 5 social justice priorities to address these over the next year. 1, voting rights. 2, criminal justice reform. 3, juvenile justice. 4, immigration reform. And 5, poverty, economic justice, and equity. In 2015, I don't know how many of you are aware, but the American Academy of Social Work and Child Welfare published the 12 grand challenges of social work. And I'm just curious, let me see a show of hands. How many people in here are familiar, you've heard about, you know about the 12 grand challenges for social work? Let's see a show of hands. That's not even 25%. Right? So many of us in the room have not heard about this, but I would encourage you to look at it. Of the 12 grand challenges, some of those challenges are related to specifically eradicating poverty. These include ensuring healthy development of all youth, closing the health gap, ending homelessness, reducing economic inequality, building financial capability for all, and achieving equal opportunity and justice. Now, in addition to social work organizations, there are others who are focused on ending poverty as well. The National Women's Law Center is taking a deep dive into the data to find out how race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, immigrant status, and the presence of a disability impact women's economic security. Their primary focus in this area is highlighting the connection between women's poverty and children's poverty, allowing them to be a national voice for fighting cuts to the critical human needs in our programs by showing their impact on key constituencies. They're investing in mobilizing support for policies like raising the minimum wage that can help women make ends meet by showing that they would mean to women, especially Black women and Latinas. Their testimonies on Capitol Hill shows how policies like family tax credits and child care assistance can help 2 generations succeed. So where do we see poverty? How do we see poverty? We see it on the faces of the 21% of children in the United States who live in families with incomes below the federal poverty level. Overall, 43% of all children live in low-income families. Where else do we see it? We see it on the faces of women in America who are still 35% more likely to be poor than their male counterparts. Poverty is an issue that impacts all of us. I would encourage you throughout the day to listen, to learn, to be engaged, to share, and that when we leave, my hope is that we would be more passionate about ending poverty, not just addressing it, but eliminating poverty in our communities. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'm turning it back over to Tomi, my colleague.